Hi, how are you, everybody? This is Virginia here, and I'm here with Esther Patterson, and her company is Captured Imagery. And I'm really excited to be here with Esther because I met her recently to a mastermind from Sharon, and I just love Esther. Like she inspires me so much. Like her life story is amazing, her energy is amazing. And the reason why I got inspired to interview her and actually created this opportunity for you is because I believe that what she has to say is something that we all really need to hear. And I really, really want you to stay and listen because you are meant to shine your light. And I feel that Esther was or has been an amazing example of that. So Esther, tell me a little bit more about you, your journey. How did you even got here?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Virginia. Your words are so kind. And honestly, you have really, really inspired me as well. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here. But first of all, like you said, everybody deserves to shine. Everybody deserves the opportunity to truly step into who they're meant to be and who that is for them, not what society or somebody else around them dictated that maybe that should be. We can start at the beginning for me, I guess.
Yes,
Like you
let's do it.
said, my life story is a little bit non-traditional, and I was actually born and raised in an Amish family. So I had very, very conservative values, belief systems, teaching from a very small child. And I grew up in that, and it affected me in a way that while I while I so appreciate a lot of the values that I learned and I really, really love my family, there were a lot of belief systems and things that I was taught as a small child that were very restricting. They were very, they limited me as a person, and they I was raised with this idea of living in a box, and this is what you're meant to be, this is what you're told to be. And and taking my version of an abundant life from what I was told that that is, rather than being taught to truly tap into the person that I am and listen to my intuition, to pursue my creativity, to to ask questions, to be curious, to explore. That wasn't something that I was taught to do. And looking around at the people that I know now and the connections that I have and the relationships that I have, there are a lot of people, whether you're raised in a very conservative environment like that or not, a lot of people feel the pressure of fitting into some kind of norms that they were taught to believe and taught to be in. So in that way, that's not unique, but the context of that I grew up in was it's unique to what a lot of people experience. But the process of being where I am now is it was an intense journey of really learning to trust my intuition, to trust the spark of curiosity within myself and allowing myself to explore. And that journey continues, absolutely continues to today. And it was in my teen years where I first realized, I began looking at the people around me and the culture that I was in. And I realized that what I saw around me and the people that were supposed to be my examples, I didn't want the life that I saw them exemplifying. I knew I didn't want to continue to put all of my time and energy and beliefs into living this way because it wasn't bringing me life, it wasn't bringing me joy. And the very first step that I had to take in that journey of transformation was allowing myself to be curious and ask questions. And it was painful because it was looked at as disrespectful and as rebellious and as not a good thing at all in the culture where I was in. But I have a bit of quiet rebellion, and so I was okay with that. And the next thing that I did was really surround myself with other people who I did look up to, whose people whose life I did admire, and who exemplified the qualities that I wanted to have and that I wanted to pursue in life. And so that was a big part of the journey too, was just surrounding myself with people who actually helped me to question some of the beliefs that I had for a really long time. And the journey of transformation was really sparked by those two things, was changing the company I was in and allowing myself to ask questions. And then a big part of that too was just trusting the process, allowing myself to be present for the transformation. And step by step, I grew. I grew in small ways, and I learned to trust myself, and I learned to step outside of my comfort zone. And even in stepping out of my comfort zone, trusting that my heart and my intuition, my curiosity would guide me and that it wouldn't lead me astray. And that was a big thing. That was a big thing that I also had to let go of. This idea that I'm going to do something wrong. Something that I've learned along the way is that maybe it's not that you make the right or the wrong decision. Maybe you may not make the best decision, but any progress, any movement, it's positive. And you can, whether you choose to look at it as positive or negative, that's what you're going to experience. And so being able to just take a step forward and saying, this is what I need to do at this moment. And if I get new information and I get to realize that, oh, I need to pivot, well, then we can do that at that point. But being able to give myself that space was truly, truly important. And I, like Virginia, you said I am a portrait photographer. That's right. Throughout this process of transformation and finding my way out of this limiting belief system, I picked up my big brother's camera and I started taking photos. And I started taking photos of just everything that I thought was beautiful, that I thought would look great in photos. And that turned into photographing my friends, photographing their families, traveling the world and photographing Italy and the mountains. And but it really became a tool of expression and creativity for me. It was where I began to learn to actually see my unique perspective in expression. And it was a powerful tool in my hands because it began to give me confidence and give me confidence in my unique voice and expression and creativity in the world. And it was also at that point, through that process, that I began to realize that it could be a powerful tool in my hands in bringing this process of transformation to others and being able to capture a person's unique personality, unique beauty, their inner light, capture that in a portrait and be able to show that back to them through gorgeous images. And that's what I do now through my business. And that is a very long answer to the question of where did I start and how did I get here? But that's a brief overview, really. So
I love that. I love that. I have a question that, I feel that a lot of people struggle with the place where they were at and the place that they're going towards, right? And then that process of moving from where you were, whether, your old conditioning, your old ideas and belief systems into what you are becoming, um, it can be like a really a scary place, right? And given your huge transformation about being in a conservative environment and moving into your own creative expression, um, how do you recommend for somebody to move into these new belief systems, and what are the practices that you have that help you engage into this process and not get back into the old ways of being?
That's such a good question because it's a very painful journey on a certain level. And first of all, there has to be a commitment to yourself and to your own desires, to your own dreams. And I think that was the one practice that kept me going, that kept me grounded, even when things got difficult. And it was the commitment of showing up and pursuing what brought me life and what brought me happiness. The fear, the uncertainty, the unknown of moving past something that you're comfortable with but that doesn't serve you anymore, the fear and the uncertainty is not going to go away. It's going to be a part of the experience. And realizing at a certain level that that's just going to be a part of the experience is necessary as well. Fear is going to be there, but just make sure that fear is in the back seat and not driving your vehicle, not steering the direction you're going. So, first of all, committing to your own heart and to your own desires, really tuning into why it is that you're on this journey, why it is that you want to make this transformation. And what happens if you don't take this step? What happens if you just stay where you are? If you don't want it bad enough, if your why isn't big enough, then why go through the struggle? So really tuning into the depth of why you need to make this change is the first step. And then realizing that it's not going to be easy, that fear and uncertainty, they're just part of the process. And learning to learn from that rather than block it or try to get away from it or ignore the fear. Allow yourself to learn from it. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to say? Most of the time, it's just trying to protect you, right? That's the body wants to stay safe. The mind wants to protect us. That's what it's been doing for thousands of years. And when you get outside of your comfort zone, when you're changing your beliefs, allowing yourself to have space for those questioning thoughts, those painful transitions, that fear that often is a part of the journey. Just knowing that that's going to be a part of the process and thanking it for being there and protecting you and learning from it. That's been a big part of the practices that I've done. But then also, again, continuing to surround yourself with people who encourage you, who you can share with, who you can be honest with throughout the journey, throughout the difficult changes. Maybe you encounter opposition. Be sure that you also have people around you that support you, even if there's other people or other circumstances where you're encountering opposition. I would say of the practices that have helped me the most throughout that transition, those three have been the three that have really helped me the most in making in making that transition and transformation.
And I wanted to ask you a question. I remember during our conversations, I asked you, like, how do you relate to other people who may have a different perspective than you have, right? Regarding your personal path, regarding your own transformation. And I felt during that conversation you were really wise in your perspective, because you seem really inclusive around yourself, first including yourself into what your needs are, your desires are, and also inclusive of other people and whatever their choices are. And I felt like it was so wise, what you were sharing with me. And if you don't mind sharing it with our colleagues here, that'd be great.
Yeah, I remember that conversation with you. I think just like I have the perspective that I can either make a right decision, or I can either make a good decision, a better decision, or the best decision. It's not necessarily right or wrong. I think that's also important to have in your perspective of other people, right? So they're just doing the best that they know in that moment. They are taking their experience of life, their information, their their intuition as well. They're taking all of what they know and they're putting it to use in their life. Who am I to come in and say that they're doing it wrong? Very often, I probably know very little of what's actually going on in their life. And that's their journey. Every single one of us has our own journey. And to say that theirs should look like something specific because mine has looked like something specific, I I, I think that's a bit of arrogance, and that's a bit of really just putting my journey onto someone else's when it's their journey and it's their own experience. Yeah. So I think really giving grace to what individuals are going through on their own and recognizing that their path is their path is so important in order to be able to meet someone where they're at and to extend grace and love as another human being, if even if they're on a different path than you, and even if they're in opposition to you, right? I mean, there's always a time and a place to challenge someone's belief, to stand up for what you believe in, to truly hold your own and stand in what you believe. But at the same time, there's never a place to put that on someone else or um, to push it down someone else's throat if they're not there receiving, if they're not wanting to hear. Um, so that's super, super important.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I also wanted you to share a little bit more about, remember the acronym SHINE that you talk a lot about? And I felt like it was so interesting, your perspective, and a lot of the people here in the interview haven't heard our conversations, but I guess I want to share that during my conversations with Esther, I really have realized the importance of listening to one's heart and listening to our intuition, and as well also celebrating ourselves and kind of sharing our light and not shying away from sharing our own light. And she has this really unique perspective, and I feel that it's aligned with the name of your company of Captured Imagery. um, so I would love for you to share that, because that to me was really a really important message that you have as well.
Yeah, I would love to share that. I actually had to pull it up because it's five things I have to remember. Yes, I'll be happy to share that. That actually, it just that came to me, and I just felt like it was such a complete perspective or a complete overview of what it truly does mean to shine and to show up authentically in your fullness, and allowing yourself the space and the growth that it takes to be in that space. So the word shine, the S is for show up for life. Before you can before you can truly step into everything that you're meant to be, that you're becoming, that you're growing into, you have to be willing to show up, first of all, for yourself and for the process and for the journey. So that's the important first one. H is for honor your mission. that comes back to really, really tuning into your why and knowing the commitment that you've made to yourself and to your mission here on earth to do the work that you're called to do. So remember and honor your mission. That's number two. The I is for ignite the flame and inspire passion. This speaks first of all for your own passion, your own flame, your own inspiration. Nurture that. Breathe life into it, because that then also is going to do the same for others. It's going to ignite passion. It's going to inspire the people around you. If you're showing up in life, you're honoring your mission, and you're igniting your own flame, that allows others the permission and the inspiration, the motivation to do the same. And that's powerful. Third, fourth, the N, nurture your growth. Nurturing yourself throughout this process, paying attention to what you need, paying attention to continuing to grow. That's truly, truly important, because once you become stagnant, or once you are focusing so much outward that you are no longer giving yourself what you need, then the flame is hard to continue to burn. It's hard to continue to grow and create the impact that you want. So continue to nurture your growth. And then finally, the E is for explore your horizons. This, for me, I'm an explorer at heart. I love adventures. I love learning new things. I love growth. But being willing to have that, have that spirit of an explorer, to continue to be excited about what you don't yet know, to be continued to be inspired by all the things around you that speak or that spark curiosity, and creatively stepping into that, creatively finding ways to continue to grow and expand. And that begins again with showing up right back at the beginning. So show up, ignite, or okay. Show up, honor your mission, ignite the flame and inspire passion, nurture your growth, and explore your horizons. That is Shine.
Wow, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I think I like kind of the concept of continue to be curious and to see, I guess, the future or what you don't know as a positive instead of as a negative, and continue to be inspired and also anchored in who you are as a person and also your mission. So I think it's so beautiful and amazing. And I want to thank you so much for being in the interview today and sharing who you are with my community. I know that all of them will be really inspired by your story, and I will be putting your contact information at the end in the notes so that, you know, if they want to connect with you, they can. Is there anything else that you want to share in the interview, or are you complete?
Um, Let me just close with the thought that you know, you know what it is that you desire. You know what it is that you want. You as a person, you as an individual, are given all the tools to tune in to create the life that you want to live. And so come back to love for yourself, come back to trust in your heart, and you will be inspired, you will be nurtured in that process. And that is what changes the world. And we need people to tune into themselves, and we need more people who are truly living the life that they desire from their heart. So that's it.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you for being with us today. And I'm sure it's going to really, really inspire a lot of my community to really tune in their hearts really see how much they're living for that place. And thank you for your story and for sharing a little bit about it with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Virginia. I truly, truly enjoyed being here. It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.